In this video, I'll be reviewing your Pokemon, and more specifically, this video is of 5 Pokemon that Nomes has submitted in the YouTube My Mon text channel in the nirtheart Discord. So YouTube My Mon. Now, I have a special campaign going on now for the month of September and October of 2024. Now, if you become a YouTube member, it costs $2 for whatever that is in your local currency. I'm in Norway, so that is 19 kroner. You get lifetime access to the nirtheart Discord as long as you follow the rules. You also get early access to new videos for as long as you stay a YouTube member, and you get priority reply to comments. Now, I reply to all my comments, that's a secret, but yeah. So essentially, the Pokemon posted here, please post 3 Pokemon. This submission in specific was posted before I made that rule. And the submission is also a little bit interesting because it has a theme to it, more so than a lot of the other posts. Now, either one is fine, but the Pokemon here that Nova has submitted are all of her mono ingredient Pokemon so far. And that's kind of interesting. So I will just go a little bit faster through these than the other submissions, just because I talk at length about the Pokemon if I don't try to limit myself. And when seeing such cool mono ingredient lists, it can get a little bit excessive. So the first Pokemon, as you can see, is Blastoise. It's got mono milk and it's got some decent sub skills. Unfortunately, the nature is quirky, so that is just neutral. It is currently level 32 and it seems to have been evolved twice. And its inventory is 33, but it's got inventory S there in that first slot. So at that point in time, it does not have more than 200 hours, it has less. And then at level 25, it's got ingredient finder M. Now, when I try to assess the strength of a mono ingredient list, I typically try to look for the mono ingredient list, and then 1 to 2 other factors that kind of help me figure out whether or not that Pokemon is worthwhile using. That can be skill, no, what am I saying? The ingredient finding up or the speed up. And in this case, it's got a neutral nature, it's got some extra inventory, and the ingredient finding M. The later things along the way here, it does have the skill level up S, it does have the Sleep EXP bonus, and it does have ingredient finding S at level 100. Now, level 100 is a ways away. That is 75 too, and this is currently 32, so we're not even going to look at level 50 in the assessment. Because for a lot of Pokemon like this Blastoise, you may not even have to bring it much further than just level 30 for now. When it comes to milk as an ingredient, unless we have some interesting new dishes, either upcoming in the future, or by the time you see this, maybe with the old gold power plant, I don't know that as of the recording here. But mono milk is not as useful, unfortunately, compared to a lot of other things, though this is going to future-proof you, which is kind of interesting. And when it comes to Blastoise, it is decently fast. And when you see you have that inventory, as well as the ingredient finding, that is a pretty cool combo. And for a lot of ingredient specialists, you kind of want to aim at around a 40, 45, 50% ingredient rate if you're lucky. Now, Blastoise already has such a strong ingredient rate. 27 is among the highest in the game. And so with just the ingredient M, there we go, sorry, lagged my mouse. With just the ingredient finding M, you get up to 37%. So 1 in 3 drops is going to be a solid couple of milk. And that's going to be quite nice for you. And I'm sure for the dishes that you're cooking so far, this is doing quite nice. So overall, really nice find. And we hop on to the next Pokemon here. It's a Quagsire, one of my favorites. Let's go. We got the Quagsire. We're going to remove some of these sub skills. The nature is Flax. Quagsire cannot evolve twice. It's looking like it's been caught as a Quagsire, so actually it has not evolved. It has inventory up M in the level 25, and that brings it to 28 in the carry limit. So this has less than 2 hours sleep time on it. Yet again, on the theme here with the video here for Nova, it is triple mushroom. So mono mushroom, which is really, really nice. In this case, we have the ingredient finding S here, and we also have the helping speed. Wait, there we go. At level 50. Now, the level of this Quagsire currently is 30, and it doesn't matter too much that this was caught as a Quagsire. Obviously, it's got the healing main skill, which is quite nice. Though, if you have a strong healer at this point, which a lot of players will have, then whether or not this is main skill 1 or 2, it's not going to make a huge difference. Like, if it heals 12 or 16, obviously 16 is nice, and maybe it can help you if you run this overnight, have a little bit of extra production. Although, I suspect that you may run into some inventory issues with this one if you try to run it overnight, so probably not the best idea. Overall, Quagsire is pretty slow, but these are some quite nice sub-skills, and it's got some more inventory coming in at level 75, and it's also got some energy recovery bonus level 100. Not even going to put that in. We removed this inventory. This is what we have got to work with. I would probably try to sub-skill see this one and get that ingredient finding M here. That could be pretty nice. It depends. If you're a premium player, this is what I would consider before hitting level 50. Now, the thing there is, before level 50, you have a, presumably, 50% chance to upgrade either the ingredient finding or the inventory. Overall, a 50% outcome is likely for what you want. If you wait until level 55, you have a 1 in 3 chance to upgrade the ingredient finding, 1 in 3 for the speed, and 1 in 3 for the inventory. Depends on how many sub-skill seeds you want to put on it, but my assessment for the mono ingredient Pokemon is usually mono list, 1 or 2 additional factors that kind of work alongside that list. So we got the inventory, which is nice. I actually wouldn't count that as a factor in this case, but there is ingredient finding and helping speed. And so you got mono list, ingredient finding, and some speed. And all of those 3 can actually be sub-skill seeded. And at that point, that Quagsire is looking quite nice. We do ingredient finding for a 25% chance of getting mushrooms. You're unlucky, oops, you got some extra inventory, not too rough. And you got some speed too. Quagsire is pretty slow. So personally for me, putting it on a Suicune team, I wouldn't care too much about the speed. I would just be all about that ingredient finding and the mushrooms. But if you don't plan on running a Suicune team, this is a very solid Quagsire, and congratulations on getting it this early. Like, Quagsire has been out for not too long, so yeah. Let's hop on to the next ingredient specialist, presumably, since they are all mono lists. Alright, a Quaquaval. We just had a look at another mono beans Quaquaval in a recent Pokemon review video. And the nature here is naive. There we go. EXP gains up overall. It's not too bad. This seems to have been evolved twice. It is currently level 27, and the inventory is 29. So yeah, also under 200 hours. That is kind of surprising. The first sub-skill here is ingredient finding S, and we got skill trigger S. And yeah, later on it gets energy recovery bonus, skill level up S, and some more inventory. Personally, I don't know if this is the way to go with the Quaquaval. Quaquaval is the most S tier of the ingredient specialists right now, in my opinion. It's at least very high up there already. S tier, strong Pokemon. the thing that is with the beans is Golem is another alternative, and it has a very high ingredient rate. Now, difference between 28% and 23, not huge. But the opportunity there to go for mono beans on the Golem instead, and preferably try to find some leaks on that Quaquaval, could potentially be a good idea. Because for all intents and purposes, this is a strong Quaquaval. It's got mono list, it has ingredient finding S, and that's actually pretty much it for this one. Now, EXP gains up can be kind of nice. You will get to level 60 faster, which means your beans production overall is stronger. I don't know if I would risk the sub-skill seed on this one, because you have a pretty high chance of getting skill trigger M on a main skill chance down Pokemon, which is on top of that an ingredient specialist. And yeah, overall I would say this one is a little bit more rough than the other ones, but it's got mono list and it's got one factor that goes alongside that list. So at the very least, I think if you get this to level 30, it's going to produce a lot of beans for you. And then maybe long term, depending on what Pokemon you choose for beans long term and leaks, then you may even want to look for another Quaquaval. But it's all up to you. It depends on your play style, your free to play or premium, what kind of collection goals you have and all that stuff. So yeah, that's just my analysis anyhow. Okay, next Pokemon, we got a Toxocroak. I went in depth on Toxocroak in a in a very recent video. And so we're gonna zero these ones out and have a look at the nature. It is another naive ingredient specialist. That is surprising. Oh man, the music is being funny again. Been recording for too long now. All right, so it's mono oil. One of the things that is cool with the Toxocroak is that it is an ingredient specialist that doesn't have the C ingredient, which makes it way more likely to be either just full-on mono oil or a bean sausage focused Toxocroak. And so that essentially just means you have to hunt fewer Krogunk to find a good ingredient list. And this one's actually pretty solid. Wow, this may, unfortunately, it is on an oil Pokemon. Hopefully in the future there's going to be a big oil dish. This is kind of crazy. I think overall these are the best sub-skills we've seen so far. So it's got ingredient finding S, and then it's got ingredient finding M at level 50, and then it's got helping speed M. And just, you leave it at that, that's pretty solid. The inventory is 19. It's been evolved once. It cannot evolve twice. So that checks out too. Less than 200 hours. Very surprising that none of these are more than that. But for the most part, you probably want to sleep with the berry specialist anyhow. It's got helping bonus on top of this. 75 is a ways away. This one is at level 29. And I don't know if Toxocroak overall as a Pokemon is one that you would necessarily want to push to level 75. Now, the EXP gains up nature is going to help you there. And if you somehow manage to get to level 100, there's a sleep EXP bonus. That could have been nice a little bit earlier to get to level 100. But actually, it's nice that it is at level 100 because all of these other traits are really, really nice. I think for the most part, the helping bonus is a little bit unreasonable for now. And for the most part, I like to recommend Toxocroak as a level 30 cap investment and not to go too far past it, because oil is not the most important ingredient as of now. And there are other considerations like the Ditto with double oil and then tails, maybe a Cramorant, but I mean, for a mono ingredient Pokemon, this is super solid. And if you can get to level 50 on it, you have a 35% ingredient rate, which is pretty nice. Toxocroak overall a little bit slow, but that's just the case for most of those oil Pokemon anyway. And for that long term, having the helping bonus too. that just cracks me up when that shows up at level 75. It's like, sometimes you get it, other times not, but yeah. Then at the very end here, we have a 5th honorable mention. A Weepinbel. We're just gonna put in Victreebel. And we have Ingredient Finder S. We got Inventory this time around. And then we have Helping Speed. We also got the Inventory M. A lot of inventory on this one. And Skill Trigger S. Can drop that down there. And this time it is a quiet nature. Very quiet. So ingredients up on an ingredient specialist is huge. Don't think this one's going to 100. Probably not 75 either. But 60 here is likely because, and I can mention it's level 20. Currently, it's been evolved once, but it's still a Weepinbel, but we're just going to assume that it evolves into Victreebel. And maybe we'll just place it at level 30. Something like that. Now, this one goes away, but wow. When these Pokemon are so low level, the analysis gets a little bit funny. But what's cool here, though, is depending on whether or not you are free to play, this Pokemon currently is level 20, which means this is not available, and this is not available, and we have the Weepinbel. I think it's not a too bad idea, depending on how bad you want tomatoes, to try to sub-skill seed the ingredient finding. Now, here's one of those times where the level 75 skill matters. The inventory up M at level 75 blocks out the inventory up S at level 25. So, in fact, you don't have to worry about the timing of this. You just have to do it, if ever, before level 75. And so, before 50, you will have a 100% guarantee to sub-skill seed this to ingredient finding M. After 50, it's going to be a 50-50, presumably. And so, overall, very solid Pokemon here. Yet again, I don't know if tomatoes is among the best ingredients in the game currently. Maybe there are some more dishes in the future that require more of them. But at the very least, I think this is going to do a lot of work for you at level 30 as the Victreebel. And for a lot of these ingredient Pokemon, it's nice to just lockstep, invest them, and get them to 30, get that big ingredient unlock, and then probably hold on for a while until you can either speed it to level 50 or even all the way to level 60, depending on how long into the future we're thinking here. But yeah, overall, a very solid submission here with a lot of interesting mono ingredient specialists. And thank you very much for posting these Pokemon and to allow me to have a look at them and review them. And I hope overall the analysis here has either been enjoyable or useful. And yeah, for everyone else, you can leave a big old thumbs up on the video if you are enjoying these videos and this type of content. That will let me know that I'll continue doing it and that you will like it. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again in another video.